welcome to Two Dudes Talk Movies podcast. I'm Luke.
I'm Griffin.
We are back again with our final episode of the semester with another guest. We are here to talk about good luck, have fun, don't die. But to introduce our guest, we're here with Keegan Cenzano.
Hello, everybody. I'm Keegan. It's nice to meet you all. I'm a student here at EIU. I am pretty well good friends with Luke and Griffin here. I am studying art education, and I'm also a very big movie buff like our two hosts here.
That's what we like to hear.
So why did you choose this movie?
Honestly, I was out on Valentine's Day, and I was with somebody, and we were looking at movies, and this one just looked the most interesting to us. I remember seeing some trailers for it, and I thought, this does look pretty interesting.
Yeah, this is one that I feel like wasn't marketed that much because I definitely saw a trailer or teaser or something for it. That was it. I only saw it ever once and then never caught when the release date was for it, so I didn't catch it in theaters, but did manage to get a hold of watching it. The film stars Sam Rockwell as a man from the future who goes back in time to stop the world from impending doom from
honestly a peak name, Man from the Future.
Yeah, thank you IMDb for naming him quite literally just Man from the Future. Cast also stars Haley Lou Richardson as Ingrid, Juno Temple as Susan, Zazie Beetz as Janet, Michael Pena as Mark, and Azim Chandri as Scott. And there's a couple others in there, but those are kind of our main ragtag cast. And the premise is, like I said, this man goes back in time to this diner, and he has to recruit a crew to help him reach this little kid's house and prevent him from creating an AI that destroys the world. So, Keegan, we're going to start with you. What are some of your general thoughts and takes about this movie?
All right. So this will be my spoiler-free section. I overall thought the movie was pretty great. There were definitely sections of the movie that definitely took me out of it. Like, I would be very well ingressed into the main story, and then there were certain sections where I was just like, oh, okay, now we're off and doing something else. Okay, and now I got to sit and wait for the next thing to happen. There were certain moments that I definitely thought were predictable or I saw coming. And then the reveal happened, and I was like, oh, okay, I kind of saw that happening. But otherwise, I thought the relationships between people was definitely interesting and very good spin on things. There were certain sections where I was very out of it, some certain tropes that I was very tired of, and then other parts where at first I didn't really understand it, but then thinking back on it, I connect the dots. And I'm like, oh, okay, so that's why that happened. Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, fair enough. Griffin, what are you thinking about?
I feel like if I had to give this movie just like a very brief description, I'd give it like, it's kind of like a almost comedic, satirical Black Mirror episode, because there's definitely a lot of parallels to Black Mirror, Shadow Black Mirror. Yeah, I mean, AI is kind of like the main center of it all, and like it's going to take over the world. It already kind of has already started taking over the world, because like in that beginning scene, you got like everyone on their phones until the man comes in and he's like, this is my 117th time doing this crap. And it's just like, then we kind of go from there. There were definitely a few moments that did take me out of it, like you said. But we'll kind of get to more of those later. But Luke, how about you?
Yeah, the Black Mirror thing is an example that I've seen quite often brought up. I have not watched said show, so I can't comment on if it's...
Got some catching up to do, man.
It's very good.
I have a lot of catching up to do over the summer, like an absurd amount, so Letterboxd is probably going to go crazy through the summer with movies and different things. But I fear, because I've never liked a movie, we're going 3 for 3 in the recent watches that haven't quite cracked that great status for me. So for context, I reviewed Michael. It'll be in the den eventually. Posted. There's this, and then my girlfriend and I watched Begonia last night, and it's just good. It was all right.
Would have guessed it wouldn't have made the grade score.
Yeah. I don't know, man. The movie's just kind of mid for me. I didn't vibe with all of it. I like the sci-fi tech aesthetic of everything though, because that's just kind of a niche thing that like always is nice to see. I like those sort of things, and there are a couple surprises in there that, looking back on it, I probably should have anticipated happening that I didn't. So good job on you for not making me guess the movie. But I just have a lot more that I just am like with than anything praise wise.
Well, how about we start with the compliments then before we get into the hate too much? I feel like one thing I really liked about this movie is just kind of like the humor it had with like the AI and like just kind of like you know, the group of high school students like literally being like hypnotized by their phones by the AI, like that entire like that backstory of like Mark and I forget her name, but
It would have been
yeah, Janet, thank you. But yeah, just there was like moments like those where it was like I don't know if I was meant to really take that seriously, like just a bunch of teens being like infected by their phones, like literally hypnotized.
Yeah,
And then
that was one of the tropes I wanted to get into that I'm very tired of seeing in media. It's like the very boomer-esque humor of it, of just like, oh, all these kids these days sitting on their phones, never doing anything else. That's all they ever do, all these screens. And it's definitely a trope that I'm very exhausted from.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, of course, I'm freshly out of high school. I do know that kids do sit a lot on their phones all the time. I still do it all the time. I'm on my phone. But it's like, it's not to that level. But we're also supposed to see the part of the AI taking over. It's sucking people more into their phones. I just wish we would see it more with other people as well, such as the adults, and not just the kids.
right, because that's definitely something I noticed was like it's really only the kids really being hypnotized by their phones. Like there were not like you still saw adults like on their phones like browsing social media or whatever, but it's like it's largely focused on the kids. And like I don't know how old the director for this is, or really who directed it. But yeah, it's definitely very, as you said, like kind of that boomer trope.
boomer humor, if you will. Which it's interesting you bring up the humor for this because there are definitely jokes in it. Didn't laugh once. Didn't even crack a smile. I just none of it sat with me or hit. I just couldn't get behind it. They're both staring at me very clearly. You should show what you guys are doing. Right
This
now.
is a very
Yeah, it's
this is
Yeah.
a very Luke moment. He
Yeah,
is very hard to make laugh or to enjoy anything.
there's no life behind these eyes, guys. It's end of the
He's been
semester. I've seen some shit, you know, but yeah, I don't know. It just didn't. It's just like I can very clearly tell when it's meant to like try and be funny, and it's Sam Rockwell, so you can really get the point that like he's trying to be funny in certain scenes, but just didn't stick with me. But you guys bring up this point about the cell phone addiction, and I think there's larger comments going on through the movie about just technology in general, between that virtual reality,
Technology bad.
yeah, very lightly on school shootings, briefly there, but then
Briefly.
it like transitions into more of like a cloning territory.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the way that they handle all of those is fine for the most part. Some of the time it feels a little underdeveloped just because you switch between them so quickly
Yeah.
that you'll go from this like very straightforward, we are dealing with an AI problem, right? And then you get to this backstory of the cell phone addiction problem. Then you're back to the AI, and that cell phone thing doesn't really come back up until
The
third act.
very end of the movie, yeah.
So for a good amount of the movie, you're just kind of set wondering if you shifted too quickly or not. I don't have a preference either way, but yeah, that's something I noticed as well.
For like the school shooting part, like I almost like didn't even like notice it happened. Like the alarms just went off in the school, and then like they're on that shelter for like maybe like just a couple minutes, and like, and then you're just on to the next thing. Like, oh, my kid's dead, and then she goes in to get like a clone of him, and it's like I get like they're trying to like touch on like the seriousness of it, but it's like with how little time and how fast the movie moves, it really just doesn't like stick, I guess.
I mean, for me, I felt like it definitely stick. Like it was going through the motions. Everything was kind of like, you know, slower played out, trying to draw out that dramatic sense of it and like her grief throughout the movie. And definitely through that section, I'm not gonna lie, I cried a little bit. It was pretty sad. It's a horrifying thing to like, you know, express in media, a school shooting, the loss of a child. It's horrifying. And then they went into the whole section of like all these mothers coming here, like, oh, is this your first time? And I was like, whoa, what do you mean first time? Are you guys seem a little excited about this?
Yeah.
And they delve into all the cloning things like that, and I'm like, of course I will never understand that as a person until I have kids, but like I could definitely sympathize with like that. Like you want your child back, but it was just really scary
Right.
for me. And like the whole like process of like the marketing of it, like, oh, what was your child like? Let's do this. Let's hurry up. Let's get through it. We can get your kid, and we'll spend all this money on it so that you can get him. But he's like, not really going to be your kid because, you know, like him playing the ads as he's talking and stuff like that.
Right. It's like that. I feel like there's like one philosophy question where it's like, if you have like a clone of yourself and they have like all of your memories, are they really you? And it's like, I'd argue like, no, it's not you, because it doesn't have like the experience of me gaining those memories kind of thing. It might have those memories, but it doesn't have like the experience, so to speak.
And then, of course, the party scene where they go out and they're meeting other parents who have all these clone kids. And then, like, the one couple comes to her and they're talking about, like, oh, we did all these changes with her. Oh, now she's, was it Muslim? Did they say that she changed her religion to?
I remember them saying that they made her funnier.
Yeah, they made her
to make her
funnier.
laugh, but I don't know about the religious swap.
Yeah.
I might have missed that one.
Yeah, they said they were talking about, like, oh, we changed her religion. We changed her whole personality to behold this new person. I'm just like, wow, you have the opportunity to have your child back and you just completely change who they are.
Yeah. Like there was definitely going back to like Black Mirror, there's definitely like an episode about that where it's like a woman brings her husband back like via cloning, or like he's an android or something, but we'll call it cloning for the sake of argument. And it's like he's just like not the same person as he was. He's very like just dead in the eye. And it's just kind of like this with these kids too, because it's really just like, as you said, like it's just like prompt after prompt, and it's just like, oh, my kid might have been like this, and like, but you can also like change it too. So it's like, you know, in the end, you're not getting the same kid back too, and it's just kind of like, ow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Transitioning into the next point that I have on here, the cinematography of it, also just it feels very standard practice. I don't feel like it's doing anything eccentric or underdeveloped, if that makes sense. It's just kind of like what you would expect a standard movie to be filmed like. I don't have any outstanding thoughts about it. It just kind of is.
I noticed like a lot of fast cuts, like especially in, like the cafe part, like some more like the action scenes, like it's very like snappy, just kind of to the next thing. And then once like the man comes in, it's very kind of just goes back to that basic filmmaking. So I didn't really have many notes about that either.
I guess for the snappy stuff, maybe it just has good pacing, and that's why my brain's not recognizing it. But just watching it, it doesn't. Nothing cinematography wise, the way that it's framed or shot or anything sticks out to me.
Yeah, it's fair enough.
Mm-hmm. I feel like there was only a few shots that really stood out to me. There was, of course, all of the stuff in the diner, some of the wide pans that they did, I thought looked great. I kind of felt like, you know, that old painting that they have of the diner on the outside shot? You know what I'm talking
Yes.
about?
Yeah, I do.
Kind of reminded me of that. There was the shots inside of the old abandoned place that they were running through from the two gunmen guys. I thought some of those shots were very nice. And then the ending shots when they're inside the basement and there's all the technology all mounted on each other, and then they show it all sat up and the little kids sitting on top of it. I thought that was a beautiful shot. I thought that was really, really cool, especially with all like the lines of code going inside the triangle and everything. Like, I thought that looked really, really cool.
Kind of reminded me of like, you know, Pink Floyd a little bit. I mean, I don't think that's something Pink Floyd would ever like condone or whatever, but it's like, you know, it's just like the design's very kind of like reminiscent of like
triangle thing.
Light in the triangles.
Yeah. Plot wise, I should have picked up on it sooner because I had the thought for it and then it just didn't click with me until it happened. But slight spoiler, the man from the future's mom is Ingrid, and whenever they show Ingrid from the future and she has like a hood up and ragged clothes, so you can't ever tell who it is, and they don't show the face. I had the like thought process that somebody important was probably going to be the person, and it was either going to be like a really absurd cameo out of nowhere or somebody from the cast in the past, but it just didn't click with me until I caught that Ingrid was the mom. So good job on you for making me not think, I guess. And then it was a little predictable also with Ingrid for her to be kind of the saving force there at the end.
Yeah.
She's got this whole problem where she's allergic to technology and Wi-Fi, which is just a bizarre thing in itself. But whenever she's like, I can't go any further, it's too strong down there or whatever, I just know immediately you're going to be making the sacrifice play at the end of this.
Yeah.
that was one of the things that I definitely saw right away. It was at first I didn't catch on it, but then there was a couple of hints and stuff like that when she like asked to see the sunset with the boyfriend guy, and then like he talks about the man from the future talks about how he always wanted to see the sunset because his mom talked about it. And I was like, okay, there's something there. And then like, you know, there was the whole being allergic to technology, and like she's like one of the only people in the future. His mom was one of the only people in the future that like, you know, didn't touch any of that stuff. So that was another connection for me. I was like, okay, there's something there again. And then they start delving into it a little bit more. And then by the end, when the AI is talking to her and it's like, you're pregnant. And I was like, yeah, it's the man from the future, isn't it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And like, yeah, with like the sunsets too, and like the fact that like the man never really asked her to be on like any of the other trips he's tried to make too. It's like he always like ignores her, just rejects her completely. And it's just like, might have been a reason like why he did that. It's just like, maybe he just like felt like she was important or something, and it's just like he didn't want to mess with that, him possibly not existing. So it's like I don't know if he knew that from the start, but it's like as he later found that out, it's just like
because there was also that hot sauce bottle that fell down and then spun towards her. So
right.
There was some sort of external force thing that was pointing that out.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. Something I wanted to touch on was, you know, there's the sections where they delve into the party's backstories. Like they would go through the main story and then they'd do a jump cut to the characters that are in our little party trying to stop the AI. And that was something that threw me out of the movie. Like, of course, they got to explain these characters and why they're there and what their motivations are and stuff like that. But it was just a sudden jump cut. All of a sudden, we're back with these characters.
Yeah.
And you could tell who and who wasn't going to survive because of those. Because we had two other characters. There was Scott, and then there was that other lady, and then there was...
Scott, Janet, and Ingrid was there as well.
Yeah.
And then Susan was technically a separate story. Janet and Mark had theirs together.
Yeah. Because they had their own stories. The only people that didn't was Scott never got a jump backstory. I don't remember the one where she died.
She wanted pie.
Yeah, she wanted pie.
The pie lady, yeah.
The pie lady. She got shot up in the abandoned
Parking
building.
garage, yeah.
And then there was the Cub Scout leader who got shot and killed by the police too. They never got their own backstories. So it was like, okay, I could tell who's going to survive until the end.
Yeah, the backstories thing at first I also felt kind of off-put by, because it is such a hard thing. Something happens that feels very irrelevant and very separate, and then it goes back to the main plot again. But I think by the time you get to the third act and they all kind of mix together, I'm more willing to accept it.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it.
It's definitely more of like a slow burn kind of a thing. It's like at first they feel just like incredibly out of place with the main plot, but like by the end of it, it's like, oh, okay, this makes sense. And like, yeah, as you said too, it's like easy to predict like who's gonna live, who's gonna die, because it's like I looked her name up, Marie, the pie lady. Like she didn't get a backstory, so it was pretty obvious she's just gonna. And then Scott too.
Which I was more surprised with Scott, because he did survive almost to the end, never got his backstory, and then he died. And I was like, oh, okay.
It's just like,
surprising.
Bro.
Yeah,
it's just like bro made it to the end, and then he just kind of got, killed immediately with like a thermometer through the head.
Speaking of Scott, I have questions about this man. When did he have time to get a car?
Oh God, you're right. I was trying to think about that.
I catch continuity things that are like just really random every now and then. The last time you see Scott, he's like wrapped around this tree, very clearly about to be like attacked by all of the mind controlled teens from their phones and stuff. And then different scenes happen and it comes back and he just hits these guys with a car, gets out, and then thermometer hits him. So where did he get the car from?
I think, if I remember correctly, it's been a couple of months since I've seen the movie. If I remember correctly, I think he was running away after all the kids had swarmed the house, and he had come back, I guess, to try and save them from the gunmen. And then that's when they walked up to the house, and then the whole thermometer thing.
Maybe, but the last shot you see of him is him getting, like, he's still around the tree. So did we forget something? I don't know.
My prediction is like he got down from the tree. Like I think like the kids were like kind of moving away from the tree, just kind of swarming the house, and then I don't know if there's like a car in the driveway that he maybe like hot wired or maybe or something like that. But then he was able to like just get a random car and just run the guy over.
Yeah, I don't know. It just, for me, it wasn't very believable that he'd find time to get a car, especially because that last shot you see of him wrapped around the tree, there are still the people very clearly reaching for him. So, couldn't tell you how he got out of that. He just did. One of the other things that's really confusing that just doesn't make a lot of sense is the kitten centaur that shows up.
That's something
This kind of bothers me.
Okay. I have a perfect explanation for this.
Okay.
So in that section, when they're in the house, they are going over things about, like, he's talking about all these different things that happen to him while they're here, because he's always stopped right here. He's talking about like the Navy SEALs, like the other like all these random things that happen to him. And then they all start joking about that. Like, oh, what if it's like a giant giraffe? What if it's a centaur? What if it's a bunch of kittens? They're talking about all these things. And he's like, no, guys, you're going to jinx it. Why would you do that? So then all the kids show up and they do the fight. And then the kitten centaur thing shows up. What I think it is like an allegory for AI. You feed AI all of these prompts and things, and it eventually spits something out. And I think that's what it is. Because he talks about how all these random things happen. He doesn't know how it happens. He doesn't know why it happens or where it comes from,
Right.
but it just does. So I'm guessing is whatever this malicious force is that's trying to stop them from getting to the AI, heard all of their prompts and things that they were talking about, spat this thing out, and then sent it after them to attack them.
And I think like too, the man from the future said like at some point too said like shitty prompt guys, and like because it's like very much an allegory for like AI too, because it's just like they're giving it a bunch of like things to just like boom, giant centaur kid it.
Because that was one moment where it threw me out of the movie. I'm like, I was sitting in the theater and I was like, where did this come from? Why is this here? This doesn't make any sense. And then I sat and thought about it, and a couple like days later I was like, oh, okay, now it makes sense.
Because it's they very do clearly say like bunch of kittens, centaur, like, and a bunch of other things too. So it's like it makes sense like where it comes from, and like they do refer to it as like a cat centaur.
I was not expecting the glitter scene. No,
The glitter.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. That's a good point, though, with the allegory. I didn't think of that, so thank you for enlightening me. But after first watching it, it felt very out of place, because the other examples they gave felt very grounded, like just some random shit that would happen while you're there. But a whole kitten centaur thing didn't feel as grounded as the other stuff did. So, but the allegory there, I think, makes sense. I can see that being the case.
Yeah.
One of the other things that's just like really, I don't know, it's not enough to drag points off. It just bothered me. I don't really like the line delivery of "Mark, I love you." That whole scene just bothers the shit out of me.
It was a nice touching moment for their like character arc of him being a coward, and like, you know, them having issues of him being that way in the past, and then him finally like, macho man, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna sacrifice myself so that everybody can live and finally stop being a coward. And I thought that was nice. And then, like, you know, the line delivery was definitely off, and I was like, oh.
There's some chemistry missing, I think, is the main problem there.
I mean, like, even though they get an entire backstory, it's just like it's delivered in like almost kind of like a too humorous way, where it's just like, oh, all right, bro.
The rest of the movie, all the other backstories were definitely a bit more serious note, or had that serious undertone of it. And then theirs was very comedic. Oh, they're on sabbatical. Where's this person? Oh, they're on sabbatical. Do we get a sabbatical? What is a sabbatical?
We definitely need a sabbatical. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. I have a deep thought ready. Is there anything else we want to go over before we get to that point?
The phone guns. I thought those were kind of cool.
Oh, yeah.
It was
Love
definitely
those.
something strange, but I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, I thought that was like a neat little thing too. It feels very sci-fi, homemade, science-y tech.
Yeah, it's almost like the Duck Hunt Zapper. That's kind of what it reminded me of, because like I don't know what year this movie takes place in, but it's like at the same time too, it just reminds you of kind of like old tech
I think
like
it was
that.
2025. I think that's when they said the movie takes place.
It'd probably be like modern day, I would imagine.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're tackling a concept of AI that's like, oh, I'm going to take over the world or something, right? You can't really go too far back.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can. Alien kind of does, but that's just because that movie was made in the however long ago it was, and then takes place far in the future.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean. Like for the AI that they're trying to tackle specifically here, you kind
Right.
of need that present day setting to make it work.
The one section at the end when they realize that the kid is a clone, I had kind of connected the dots to myself. Maybe it is, or maybe it isn't, but that the AI is building itself. Like it was using the kid as an avatar because they did mention how the parents in the home that they were with were fake. They were paid off, stuff like that. And it was very interesting. I liked that a lot, that the AI was building itself and they were trying to
Yeah.
stop it. The little toy robot things were a little, or the little toys was a little confusing.
Dude, I was trying not to laugh when I saw that because I immediately thought of Sid from Toy Story 3.
Yeah.
And then I saw the one that has the long ponytail, and I thought of the Viltrumite, whose name I can't think of, from Invincible, that also has the really long ponytail with like the whip chain.
Tholda or something
Something like that. I don't know. I was trying not to laugh, and I got over it. But yeah, the little robots that are a little strange. I think it's maybe trying to symbolize like a smaller form of AI where like they can control themselves.
'Cause then
a
they
little
started
bit before they
running
get to like
away
this
after.
larger thing, right?
Yeah, because then there was the moment where the AI was in its final moments, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, we gotta run away." I did kind of like the scene of the one little like actual robot toy using the sword, and he was like, or the knife as a
knife,
sword,
yeah.
and he's like swinging it around.
I
and
yeah,
pulls
that
it. I was
little
like,
that little robot's got some aura to him, bro.
was
He
pretty
was
nice.
very menacing. Okay. Deep thought then. All right. So they get to the end of the movie, right? And spoilers here. They are like, we saved the day, we did it. And then they're like, crap. No, we didn't.
it was fake.
Yeah, it was all fake. Something doesn't add up here or whatever. The big kitten centaur thing's still there. The clone child no longer has the tattoo to signify that he is. And at first I was very off put by it because I thought it all lined up, but then I thought back about the timing. If you count the time, the conversation they have goes past the cutoff time for whenever they need to succeed.
I didn't catch that.
Because like it shows the last 2 seconds on the watch, and then when it cuts, there's 1 second left, and they still talk for after that. So there's no time dilation happening. So they really did just take too long. But they had the right concept for an idea.
Right.
And then we later see Man from the Future go back to the future back to the past and then redo it. Which is also strange that he can just do that and then not be injured when he goes there.
That was something
Your
I
body
didn't
should
think
not
about too,
reset
yeah.
its state, but what do I know about time travel? You can change it every time you make a movie about it.
Or he had magically gotten the USB stick back.
Yeah, he just
Yeah.
kind of had that. So there's things that very clearly didn't line up. But that aside, in the context of the movie, not in terms of real life, in the context of the movie, is the future savable for them?
So I wanted to talk a little bit about that ending scene first too. It was definitely something that I didn't expect coming, but I was at first thinking like, how did he know? How did he know that this was fake and then this wasn't real? Because at that point the giraffe didn't thing show up, and then like eventually it did show up, and then I was like, how? Just how? And then I thought about it a bit more, and I think it was trying to give us that subtle hint in the sunset. He had never seen one before, and he had talked about earlier how AI tries to cater to you. It tries to give you all these nice things, tries to give you all these wonderful things. He's talking about how he tried putting on the headset when he was a little kid, and then he didn't, and he was trying to see a sunset because he had never seen one before.
Wait, I also just clicked with it. They also get there in the middle of night. So if they get out and the sun's rising, it wouldn't make sense.
Exactly.
Wait. Is it a sunset?
It was a sunrise.
Okay, then it would make sense. Never mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. I thought I had a massive brainwave moment. Sorry.
But yeah, it was definitely that moment, and I was like, okay, that makes more sense. And then they had the whole part of her, Ingrid, like trying to tell him, it's still fake, and they're like, no, it's not, it's real, it's okay, it's fine. And then she's like taken away to like, whatever mental institution comes back, because her old boyfriend comes back, and he's like, oh, I was so wrong about all the things I said, and I want to be with you forever. And then like Mark and I keep forgetting her. Janet get back together, and they're having all happy, and then like the whole giraffe scene and the glitter, and there was all the kids Susan gets her son back, and he's real this time. And like, of course, like you said, it was his mark was gone, so he was like a real kid and all that.
Yeah.
And then the AI kid comes up and he's like, "Ha, I got you. They're never gonna believe you because they're too far gone."
So do you think that the future and the concept context of the movie can be saved.
With the whole idea of him making a vaccine of the same thing that she, like genetic or whatever disease or whatever thing that she has where she's allergic to technology, it's more of the sense of whatever the author decide or the director decides is real. Because like from a realistic standpoint, can you really give each other like a genetic disorder? I mean, maybe it's possible. I just kind of think of The Last of Us. You know, they tried making a vaccine for a fungal disease, and even at that time in 2012 when it took place, we had never heard of such a thing. There is no such thing as a vaccine for a fungal disease. And even now, there is still no such thing as a vaccine for a fungal disease. It's kind of thinking in the parallels of those two. There is no way you could just give people genetic disorder. I might be wrong. I don't know if that's a thing or not. But just from what my general knowledge of medicines and stuff like that, it doesn't seem realistic.
Yeah. Within like the context of the movie, yeah, it's kind of up to the author whether they can take like her DNA and like give everyone on planet Earth the disease, so that way like AI technically can't be developed later in the future. Because I mean, like even with like technology today, you have like CRISPR machines which can kind of like manipulate DNA so like some diseases won't ever like form, or like we're kind of getting into that kind of technology too. So it's like, and so like the man from the future might be able to take like blood samples, take it like back to his future, and then come back and just find a way to just, you know, and infect the whole world with just like this technology, Wi-Fi allergy. And it's like, I feel like that's one way you could save the future, but like eventually like someone's going to get like a genetic mutation where they won't be allergic, and then, you know, they'll increase in number, and then it'll just, the whole cycle will just kind of like happen again. Yeah. And like, so I feel like AI is just in that universe, it is inevitable, but it's like, it's just like a question of like, how long can you delay it?
Because the AI did say that, oh, of course you can upload this program into me, all these safeguards, but I'll just work a way around it in the future. Like I'll figure out how to get past it in the future. So it's like AI is going to find a way, in at least in this universe and movie, that AI is going to come back no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the point you brought up with the Last of Us parallel makes a lot of sense. You can probably, granted how weird and disbelief a lot of the movie is, make the argument that, yeah, you can probably figure out how to make a vaccine with this illness that is just nonsensical and then run with it. But I think it boils more down to just there isn't enough time. I don't know why precisely he needs to start at the diner and go the route that he does every single time. There's no, as far as I'm remembering or understanding, no reason that he has to start right there. But
did say in his monologue at the beginning of the movie that in this diner there is a specific number combination of you guys that I need to save the world. And he said that it was specifically this diner, specifically these people. He just needed to figure out the right combination of them. So I guess that's the answer that we get. It's a little lazy.
It is, though, because whenever you get to actually watching it happen, only 2 to 3 people actually ever do anything. The rest are literally just there to get killed. So,
yeah, because he does point out a few people, like the one guy in the corner that kept trying to volunteer himself. He's like, no, I can't have you because you're bad. Or he's like, sits with the one woman. He's like, you and I fall in love almost so many times, and you saved my life more than I can count. But in the end, you betray me, and I can't put myself through that again. I can't have you on my team. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And the lady's just staring at him like, okay, dude. Like,
random homeless man talking to me in the diner, you know, trying to eat my fries and drink a milkshake.
And I guess on the 118th try, it's like, I guess the right combination was literally just Ingrid, if that's the way you want to interpret it.
It could be.
Yeah. So I don't know. That exists. And then I still feel like it is just a time problem, that there isn't enough time, because let's say you have to go the vaccine route. I don't know if you have enough time or the know-how to just casually whip up a vaccine.
Right.
And then if you stab it, the kid is one of the clones, so that doesn't really do anything other than just stop the program from getting made, and that's fine. But I guess that's how you'd have to go about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you can't make the vaccine quick enough and you have to do the parameters upload first before you do the vaccine thing, you still have to convince the lady to give you her son.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's enough time. And then you have to run through this whole thing. And then all of like the setup in the one house before they get to the stuff that is the prompt thing that keeps changing every single time. That's a lot of setup that I feel like doesn't need to take that long to set up.
And in the movie, the past was constantly trying to stop them because, like, you know, the whole past trying to stop you from changing the future. So even if he had managed to do some of that, he still has to deal with all of that of the past trying to stop him.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I think for me, future in this movie probably can't be saved just because of how long it takes them to actually get to where they need to be, especially if this is the closest they've gotten. And then the solutions that they have in front of them also just take too long.
I do wish we got a little bit more from the future, like maybe a little deeper delve on how they created a time machine, how they knew to go to this specific spot, how do they know, like, who was this resistance people that were fighting against the AI in the future, all these different things that were kind of left unanswered, so it was just a bit underwhelming a bit, I guess.
Yeah, because like the only things we really get are like him seeing his mom getting killed and then them like walking through like the city where it's just like, you know, homeless people on the street wearing like VR goggles, and it's just like,
and then there was the weird like drone thing that shot the missile at his bunker.
But like at the same time too, that's like really all of the future that we can see. Like we don't see the technology of, like he mentioned, like an underground colony where he lives with some people. It's like, how do they have like the know-how and like the skills to like build a big time machine? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But like, it just doesn't really get answered, but like, I guess we're just going with it. So
I suppose there is, it kind of works for the movie because, you know, since he is time traveling, the future is technically uncertain, so we can't see too much of it to know if that's really where it will go from there.
Yeah, time travel movies never stay consistent with how they want to do it. So, do we think we're ready for some ratings?
All right, yeah.
All right, Keegan, you up first.
I will give it a. I think I'm gonna give it 3.5 out of 5.
All right.
Okay.
Solid.
I will probably give it a 4 out of 5.
Ooh, all right, a little higher.
A little higher. I mean, I kind of liked the randomness of it because it's like, sure, like maybe a lot of it doesn't really make sense, but at the same time, you gotta figure like this is a super AI model we're talking about. It's like it's kind of feeding off of like what you're giving it, just like how, you know, regular AI works, and it's like the plot of the movie I feel like is kind of like an allegory for like the randomness of AI and just like you know, a lot of different like cloning technologies and like a lot of future technologies kind of like brought to the present of the movie. So
I can get behind that.
Yeah, I think for me overall, it still is just kind of a lot of I'm not overly thrilled with a lot of it. There's some things that I do think are good. I think I like the actors for the most part. There's some delivery that doesn't make sense, or well, not doesn't make sense, just doesn't work. Humor isn't really capturing me. The cinematography is pretty you know, nothing like stands out, right? But I think for the allegories, now that we've discussed and thought about it a little more, I think it makes a good attempt at it, but it's just not to the point of where I think it should be. So I think for that, I'm going to give it a 3.5. It's just kind of mid.
Okay.
And I want to give an honorable mention quickly to Matt Williamson, who on Letterboxd also gave this a 4.5. Jeez. I need to know why you gave this a 4.5. Find me at some point and tell me. I'm very curious.
Yeah, I mean, I also saw his rating and I was like, that's a bit high. I mean, I know I gave it a 4,
movie of the year contender, and we've still got all of summer to go through, plus the fall. And this movie came out, very early on this year, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, February.
Yeah,
and like,
it was pretty close.
I think technically it came out in like 2025 in like different countries because like that's what I saw on Letterboxd. But
yeah. So Matt, please find me at some point and enlighten me. I'm very curious. But that being said, that's going to do it for this episode of Two Dudes Talk Movies podcast.
And the semester.
And the semester, yes. Until next time, I'm Luke,
I'm Griffin.
I'm Keegan.
and we'll see you then. Good luck.
Have fun.
Don't die.